Long ago, in the town of Badagry, where the ocean kisses the sand and palm trees sway with the wind, there rose a building unlike anything the people had ever seen. It was tall, with 2 floors stacked one above the other, standing proudly in a land where every home was made of mud and thatch. To the villagers, it was a house of wonders, the very first story building in all of Nigeria. The story goes that when the builders laid its foundation in 1845, strange things began to happen. The ground trembled as if the earth itself was protesting. Some said the spirits of the ancestors were restless, whispering that the land did not belong to strangers. But the builders pressed on, raising walls of stone, brick, and wood, until the house stood, tall and majestic, watching over Badagry like a silent giant. At first, the people were afraid. They gathered in small groups and pointed at the house from a distance. They whispered that the walls could hear every conversation and that at night, voices echoed from within, even when no one was inside. It was said that if you pressed your ear against the cold walls, you would hear the cries of the enslaved who once walked the sands of Badagry, their voices carried by the winds into the bricks. The house belonged to the missionaries, men who came with books, strange clothes, and a message that promised light. They taught reading, writing, and a new way of worship. But among the villagers, a folktale grew, that the walls of this house were alive, and they spoke only to those brave enough to listen. One moonlit night, a young boy named Okan, curious and fearless, crept close to the towering building. His friends had dared him to touch its door, but Okan wanted more. He wanted to hear the whispers for himself. Quietly, he placed his ear against the wall. At first, he heard only the rustling of palm leaves, the croak of frogs, and the chirping of crickets. But then, slowly, a voice emerged. It was soft, almost like a sigh carried by the ocean breeze. "Remember us," it said. Okan's heart pounded. He pulled away, but curiosity pulled him closer again. "Remember us," the voice repeated, stronger this time. "We are the ones who walked this land in chains. We are the ones whose feet never touched home again." Okan trembled, but he did not run. "Who are you?" he whispered back. And the walls answered, "We are the memory of Badagry. Tell the people never to forget." From that night on, Okan carried the story with him. He told the elders what he had heard, but many laughed, calling it the imagination of a child. Still, others believed, for they too had felt uneasy near the building, as though unseen eyes were always watching. As the years passed, the first story building became a place of learning, of worship, and of change. But the folktale lived on. Parents told their children that the walls of the house held voices of the past, speaking truths that no book could contain. Some said that the spirits within the walls grew angry when people ignored the lessons of history, and that storms would rage until the house was remembered. Others said the voices were guardians, protecting the land from being swallowed by silence and forgetfulness. Even today, when the sun sets over Badagry and shadows stretch across the ancient building, some claim they still hear faint whispers if they listen closely. They say the house breathes with memory, reminding all who come near that history is alive, that the past is never truly gone. The building still stands, not only as the first story building in Nigeria, but also as a keeper of stories, a vessel of voices that refuse to be silenced. And so the people of Badagry pass the tale from one generation to the next, that when the night is quiet and the winds are still, the walls speak, and those who listen will never forget the story of where they came from.